everybody, welcome back to the Pitching Ninja Show. As always, I am Pitching Ninja, and I am here with Will Leahy, who's one of my favorite people to on. Sorry, I'm just channeling Triumph, the insult comedy dog. What's up, Will?
That's just good comedy, Ninja. So on to baseball. Max Scherzer, aka Ray Finkle, the mayor of Psychoville, just had another insane performance. He threw another 7 shutout innings. His ERA is now sub 1 on the Dodgers. They are 9-0 since he has come over in this big playoff race to win the division that they're in. He's 7-0. He's got a .78, I believe, ERA. And he's kind of running away with the Cy Young, even though the big blonde hairy animal, Corbin Burns, pitched decent in his last start and has one of the lowest FIPs in the last 100 years still. Max is just making it impossible for anyone to vote for anyone other than him. And what do you think about him, Ninja?
Dude deserves his 4th Cy Young. He's a big reason why I love doing what I do, is watching Max Scherzer pitch. He's fantastic.
In the AL, for our weekly Chris Sale check-in, guy dominated again. He's now 4-0 with the Red Sox since he came back.
How many did he strike out, Will? He was like 1. I think he struck out 1 dude, and it was one of my nastiest pitches of the week. Like, amazingly struck out, I think, 1 guy.
Well, it wasn't his sexiest. I wanted to
fact check me on that. So
it wasn't his sexiest, but it got the job done, Ninja. Unlike Garrett Cole, who got smoked like a pack of Newports, he's kind of handed over to Robbie Ray, who now leads by a pretty wide margin in ERA in the AL. Also has the most strikeouts, tied for the best whip. He's kept it together.
Ray's got the lead right now. Robbie Ray, like, that dude is so much better than most people realize. He just comes at you with grunts, fastballs, and sliders, and just F's you up.
So Shohei pitched again. He had missed his last start. People were speculating that he was probably going to shut it down for the year, but he came out, threw 8 complete innings, gave up 2 runs, 10 Ks, was pretty dominant. His splitter was out of control. What'd you see here from Ohtani?
So the reason he said he wanted to throw, like, they could very well have shut him down. He said, I'm going to be pitching multiple years, and I learn something new every time I throw. So getting out on the mound and pitching is the way I learn. I know how people react to my pitches. I want to see how they handle it. Being able to attack MLB guys, you need experience. And what he wanted to do for reigning starts is try different things and gain more experience. And the dude eats and sleeps baseball. He's constantly making himself better. And what you're seeing now is scratching the surface of where he could be as a pitcher, which is scary. I thought his emotion on his 10th strikeout, getting out of a bases loaded situation, was fantastic. He had bases loaded, 1 out, got out of it, but you see him bear down. You see him throw 99 in that situation and say, hey, my best is going to beat your best because I'm a better athlete than anybody else on the field. And he imposes his will on the other team in those situations. That is what sports is about. So watching Shohei is basically, it's the best part of watching baseball to me.
I really love how he threw 8 full. You know, he didn't just come out and show up just to go through the motions, just to try and quell some of the MVP talk. Vladdy has been making a push with some great numbers recently. He's overtaken the home run lead from Ohtani, but he's not actually challenging the dual threat legend, is he, Ninja? What do you have to say to these people that think Vladdy might take it from Ohtani?
I think people get bored by having a runaway winner, so they have to push some other status. Like, no doubt, Vladdy's awesome and another great guy to watch play, but nobody has done what Shohei has done in the history of baseball as far as being that dominant on the bump and at the plate in the same season like he has. So most valuable, like, he's their team. Vladdy's season is a memorable season, but is it as historical as that? In my mind, no. So you give it to the historical guy. I mean, Ted Williams, didn't win the MVP when he hit, what was it, 409?
406, yeah.
Yeah, 406, I'm sorry.
And he was hosed again the next year when he won the Triple Crown.
The greatest pure hitter maybe of all time. Like,
he was hosed from another Triple Crown too. He had, to be honest, they The Red Sox weren't good enough at the time. He had to go to war and become a hero first before they wanted to give him any of his MVPs. But the thing I believe is largely missed with Ohtani is, everyone compares him to Babe Ruth, but what he is doing is different from what Babe Ruth did. Babe Ruth was a more dominant hitter when he hit, but he did not hit and pitch at the same time. So in 1916, he was primarily a pitcher. He had the best ERA in the league, but he only hit when he was pitching. And as he continued to get more home runs, he led the league, I believe, in 1918 with 11 home runs. And then he started to get kind of wild. 1919 had 29 home runs, and there were only 447 all of baseball. And in 1920s, when he blew the damn doors off, had 54 jacks, and there was only 630 in all of baseball. But by that time in 1920, he wasn't pitching at all. He pitched one game. So they are just doing entirely different things. So when people say what Ohtani is doing hasn't been done since Babe Ruth, well, that's not true. It has never, ever been done, and we need to reward this, I think.
Yeah, and in fairness to Babe, your stats are exactly the reason why there's nobody like that. Like the percentage of home runs he hit home runs when there weren't a lot of home runs, and he did it with a very high batting average. He was here and other folks were there. I mean, Shohei is not at that point hitting wise. Like he is, ain't gonna front. Like he is not hitting, 20% of the league's home runs or anything like that. But pitching wise, yeah, I mean, I think that's where you can make actually even better comparison. Babe Ruth was a legendary pitcher at the time, and moving him out of pitcher was a big deal. Like he held the record for the World Series most scoreless innings for the longest time. And, I think people forget how good he was and how good he could have been had he stayed a pitcher. But yeah, they made him make a choice. Shohei doesn't have to make that choice. It's very, very tough because you can't recover the same way that you can recover if you were doing one or the other.
So Shohei had some disgusting splitters this weekend as per usual, and kind of got me thinking a little bit about the pitch because it's not super common, and there are some really nasty ones in the game today. I was wondering, Ninja, if you can kind of walk us through a little bit some characteristics of splitters and just some of your favorite throwers of them, and anything else we should know about the lovely yet underused pitch.
Yeah, splitters are really interesting because for the longest, they were a very, very hot pitch. Back in the day, you had like Mike Scott throwing a ridiculous splitter, and maybe objectively looking at that pitch, even going back, that pitch might have been the nastiest pitch in the history of baseball. Like Mike Scott's splitter is insane. It is cartoon-like, and no one had seen anything like it. Now, was he scuffing the ball? I don't know, but it still was, I mean, it was an insane pitch. You had Bruce Sutter basically make the Hall of Fame because of a splitter. And then people started thinking that splitters started hurting your arm, which there really hasn't been any great studies on that, but it was lore. And what happens in baseball is you start hearing it and then more and more people believe it. So splitters started disappearing, but in Asian countries, they throw splitters. And you started seeing an influx again of splitters. Now Shohei, he actually changed his splitter grip. He threw his traditional splitter and now has a little modification of it that gave him a ton of arm side runs. So he has taken what is arguably the best pitch in baseball. I mean, I've argued Blake Treinen's slider is the best pitch. Gosman's splitters are really good pitch. Montas's splitters are really good pitch. But Shohei's splitter has like a .067 batting average against, and to add this additional movement to it, now he has two different versions of it. That's tough.
All right, Ninja, here's where we show some respect to the hitters of Major League Baseball. The runner-up long down the week here goes to Juan Soto, who is having a sensational second half, which is coming together to just be a sensational season all around. He's actually the only guy in the major leagues with more walks than strikeouts, which at this point right now, he has a lot more. He's got 124 walks to 83 Ks. Surely one of the greater hitters in the league right now. Started not particularly great, but he's getting rewarded here this week for his 100th dong of his career. And he blasted this one 554. Dead center, just smashed.
Did you say 554?
That's 554 on the Leahy long dong chart. The MLB has
it behind him.
MLB has it at 454. Not sure they know what they're doing, but next on to the second runner-up long dong of the week, Jake Bauers here. hitting this 460-foot pool noodle. Splash, just a wonderful sight here. The guy doesn't hit a lot of dongs, but when he does, he makes them count, Ninja.
See, I have a feeling that would be me. Like, I would hit one dong, but it would be like, I can luck into a 600-foot home run. No doubt. Like, that is never going to happen. I could luck into hitting myself in the nuts. Have we talked about that, Will? Anthony Santander fouling a ball straight off his nuts. And that I could luck into or unlock into, because I can guarantee you eventually, if I took swings, a ball would hit me square in the junk.
But the long dong of the week goes to Adam Duvall for this 483-foot chimichanga. Duvall here doing his best to bring fans into Chase Field and quite frankly, just not really doing enough. But this is one of the prettiest jacks I've seen in a long time. Duvall is absolutely juiced, naturally.
And now, PitchingNinja's Top 10 Filthiest Pitchers of the Week.
At number 10, we have Clayton Kershaw back on the bump and back throwing his legendary Cooperstown curveball. Talk about one of the prettiest pitches in baseball. Fantastic. Love it. This is number 10. It could be number 1 if we're talking about prettiest pitches, but Clayton could win that anytime with his curveball. At number 9, we have Sandy Alcantara's backup slider. Now, this thing doesn't make any sense. He throws a slider and the ball goes 10 inches arm side instead of glove side. So this thing looks like a changeup or a turbo sinker, but it's a slider that he throws. And because he throws it, think of a bullet, the way a bullet spins, a very gyro-y slider. If the axis shifts a little bit, I think what happens is the ball ends up going the wrong way. If he does this on purpose, he is a legend and will just rocket up the charts in pitchers to watch, because this pitch is really, really weird and sliders just shouldn't do this. Speaking of things that shouldn't do stuff, at number 8, we have Emmanuel Clase with a 103-mile-an-hour cutter. This is the fastest cutter of all time. Absolute insanity. I don't know how anybody hits it. I don't know how anybody throws it. But yes, it was 103 miles an hour and a cutter. At number 7, one of the prettiest pitches in baseball. And honestly, Luis Castillo's stuff when he's on is otherworldly. You look at this 99-mile-an-hour backdoor two-seamer that ran 20 inches arm side, 99.5 miles an hour. This thing is absolutely disgusting and beautiful at the same time. He had a fantastic outing against the Dodgers and gets the number 7 spot with this sick pitch. At number 6, we have Alek Manoah and his video game sliders. Now, Manoah's slider is low-key maybe one of my favorite sliders in baseball. It's like pure Dave Stieb type stuff back in the day for the Blue Jays. It is insane stuff. He is a competitor too, a fun guy to watch on the bump, and this is sick stuff. At number 5, we have Devin Williams' airbenders. He had 7 swings and misses on his airbender while striking out the side, striking out 3 batters in a row, and had 7 swings and misses. I think we figured out that there was one other pitcher that has done this from the StatCast era, and that was Jacob deGrom. And Jacob deGrom can do anything, so it's Jacob deGrom. He decides to strike everyone out with his changeup. He can do it. But these pitches are, it is an alien pitch, and the fact that you can throw this over and over again and make hitters look silly just shows you how much of a unicorn pitch this is. At number 4, we have Shohei Ohtani's splitters. Shohei threw a ton of splitters this last outing. I believe it was over 50%. Has an amazing whiff rate on his splitters. He had 10 Ks, 9 of them were on his splitters. And he did something that I just noticed, which was he changed the spin axis of his splitter to make it run more. He had splitters that were running 20 inches arm side when he averaged 5 inches the whole season. So he is just getting better and better with his best pitch. At number 3, we have Chris Sale's ridiculous slider. This thing moved states. It actually didn't break a ton with his spin, just because of spin, but if you add the trajectory in, it did. So what happens is the ball breaks for a variety of different reasons. The actual break on the ball is due to spin, but if you throw it on a path, it means the ball's covering more ground. And with Chris Sale's arm slot and the spin on this pitch, it's It's insane. Speaking of pitches that move ridiculous amounts, at number 2, Aaron Bummer's ridiculous slider. This thing, same thing. I believe this had something like 18 inches of horizontal break due to spin, but Bummer way down on his arm slot and throws way across. He's throwing this ball in a trajectory that is carrying it way across. So this ball not only had spin, but also had the trajectory, which makes this thing finish almost outside the other batter's box. I mean, it's a cartoon pitch, absolutely insane stuff. And to top off the sliders, we have the slider that kind of broke Twitter this week. Tanner Houck's slider is number 1. Dude, I can't do this pitch words. All of these sliders are obscene. This was the most obscene pitch of the week. Chris Sale said, Tanner Houck's slider is better than my slider. He throws a true slider that breaks more, has more spin, and it's just nasty. And if you don't believe Chris Sale, believe your eyes and look at this pitch. This is insane. Did you see the whole Houston Astros team dressed like Zach Greinke?
I did not see that.
It's awesome because Zach Greinke dressed kind of nondescript like a tourist when he has dad vibes when he dresses. I mean, but the whole Astros team copied him and dressed just like Zach. And as a Zach Greinke lover, not actually, like, that sounded awful.
the baseball groupie pitching ninja.
Yeah.
All the best players.
As someone who thinks Zach Greinke is just completely awesome, I love seeing him get the due respect that he deserves.
And sticking with fashion, saw rock and roll legend Geddy Lee rocking the Pitching Ninja shirt. How'd you feel about that, Ninja?
Dude, that was so random. Like, this is a ninja secret. I rarely check my Instagram comments. Like, I'll see them pop up, and then I saw something about Geddy Lee in there, and I was like, wait a second, Geddy Lee from Rush is wearing a Pitching Ninja shirt? Like, that's pretty cool. I'm still waiting for Tom Morello to rock one. I think that'd be awesome. I mean, I've tried to get him to do the guitar in my little Pitching Ninja intro. I think that would be kind of sick.
There are a lot of great reasons for Rage to get back together, but I think this has got to be near the top of the list.
It's been another fantastic week. Until next time, I'm going to K-strut on out of here. Keep throwing flames.
Strike 3!